What if I told you a mid-race moment caught on camera could cost Norris the entire championship? Red Bull has just delivered never-before-seen footage of a wild incident between Tsunoda and Norris, and it's now in the hands of the FIA. McLaren is sweating, Norris is silent, and the title may swing in Verstappen's favor if this leads to a penalty. This is absolutely insane. Hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss the moment the FIA drops their final verdict. The Abu Dhabi Grand Prix weekend has taken a dramatic turn as the FIA launches an urgent review of new video evidence involving Yuki Tsunoda and Lando Norris. What looked like a routine on-track battle has now escalated into a full-blown investigation that could shake up the final race results and possibly the championship outcome. The footage in question shows a moment where Norris may have gained an advantage by pushing Tsunoda off the track or failing to yield in a disputed corner incident. Sources close to the FIA confirmed that Red Bull submitted the footage just hours after the race ended, claiming it shows clear violation of racing conduct. This triggered immediate scrutiny from the stewards, and both McLaren and Tsunoda's AlphaTauri team have been called to submit their official race data and radio communications. What makes this especially tense is the timing coming just as points are being finalized for the season standings. What's truly shocking is that this moment was barely highlighted during the original race broadcast. However, new onboard camera angles reveal just how aggressive the maneuver was. Tsunoda, who was on a legitimate overtaking line, appeared to be squeezed with no room, forcing him off track momentarily and costing him position and time. Now, the question is whether Norris should have given the place back or received an in-race penalty, neither of which happened. McLaren has remained tight-lipped, but insiders report that team principal Andrea Stella has already met with FIA delegates behind closed doors. The potential consequences are serious. If Norris is found at fault and handed a time penalty retroactively, it could change his final position and with it, crucial constructor and driver points. For a team chasing top 3 finishes, that's a nightmare scenario. Adding to the intensity is Red Bull's involvement. Their push for the investigation isn't just about justice, it's strategic. Any drop in Norris's points could open the door for Verstappen or even Perez to climb the standings depending on the final calculations. Red Bull has made it clear they won't let anything slide, especially in a season this close. Meanwhile, fans are reacting online with split opinions. Some claim Norris did nothing wrong and that it was hard racing. Others are pointing fingers at McLaren's radio silence during the incident, suggesting they knew it was borderline but gambled on no review. Regardless of which side you're on, this is the kind of late-season twist that keeps Formula One electric. The FIA is expected to deliver a preliminary decision within the next 24 hours, but if it goes further, a full disciplinary hearing could delay the final championship confirmations. One thing's for sure, this story is far from over and the 2025 season may go down in history not for the race itself, but for what happened after the checkered flag. The FIA's review panel is currently analyzing the telemetry and GPS data from both Norris and Tsunoda's cars, as this information could prove crucial. If Norris is found to have made a steering adjustment that forced Tsunoda wide, it could be ruled as a deliberate move, which carries far more serious penalties under Article 33.4 of the sporting regulations. That clause specifically prohibits drivers from forcing another car off the track. The investigation is taking this route seriously and the implications are massive. What's even more alarming for McLaren is that race control didn't issue a warning or investigate during the Grand Prix, meaning this wasn't just missed by the broadcasters, it was overlooked entirely in real time. That raises questions about consistency in race stewarding. Now that the FIA is re-evaluating it post-race, it sets a precedent that even incidents that go unnoticed during the Grand Prix aren't immune to retroactive penalties, especially when new footage is submitted. Tsunoda himself remained composed in post-race interviews, but subtly hinted at frustration. He told reporters, "I don't want to speak too much, but I think people saw what happened." That quiet comment has now taken on a much bigger meaning as replays of the incident circulate across social media, with thousands of fans rallying to his defense, claiming he was robbed of a potential top 5 finish. His performance on track was arguably one of his best all season, and now it's overshadowed by this controversy. The technical team at AlphaTauri reportedly supplied high-definition onboard footage from Tsunoda's car, which includes not just the visual evidence but also brake and throttle inputs. If it shows he was committed to the corner and had the line, then the pressure on Norris intensifies. In a sport where margins are razor-thin, something as small as 30 centimeters can determine guilt or innocence. And in this case, it might determine a major penalty. Back at McLaren, the atmosphere is reportedly tense. Team engineers were seen rechecking their post-race logs late into the night, and internal radio conversations are being reviewed by legal teams before submission to the FIA. This level of scrutiny means McLaren knows what's at stake. It's not just about one race. If Norris is hit with a post-race time penalty of 5 or 10 seconds, it could drop him several places in the final classification, altering not only his points but potentially constructor rankings. The 2025 Abu Dhabi GP was already hyped as a thrilling conclusion to the season, but this controversy has turned it into a legal and regulatory battleground. Fans are now tuning into FIA bulletins like they would a second race. The drama is no longer limited to the track. It's playing out in boardrooms, review panels, and social media debates. And Red Bull, always the master strategist, seems to have triggered it all at exactly the right moment. All eyes are now on the FIA. Will they act swiftly, or will this drag out over days of deliberation? Will Norris escape with a warning, or could this incident become a pivotal moment that defines not just a race, but the legacy of a season? Whatever happens next, the tension has reached boiling point and the ripple effects will be felt across every corner of the F1 world. Behind the scenes, Red Bull is not letting up. Sources close to the team revealed that their strategy unit compiled a detailed incident report with overlays comparing Norris' trajectory with other drivers who took the same corner during similar racing conditions. Their analysis suggests that Norris took a more aggressive inside line, which left Tsunoda with no room to maneuver safely. This report, now in the hands of the FIA, is being treated as potential key evidence that could escalate the situation from a mere racing incident to a rules breach. Adding to the storm, audio from Norris' race engineer has now surfaced, and while the team insists it was standard communication, analysts say the tone implies they were aware of the pressure from Tsunoda and may have signaled Norris to hold position aggressively. If the FIA interprets this as strategic intent to block or run another driver off track, it could push them to issue a harsher penalty, possibly even a grid drop or time sanction that retroactively alters race results. Meanwhile, fans and pundits are divided. Some say Norris was simply defending his position in a high-stakes environment, doing exactly what any racer would. Others argue that there's a line between defending and endangering and that Norris crossed it. Social media is ablaze with clips, slow-motion analysis, and heated commentary, with hashtags like Justice for Tsunoda and Norris penalty trending globally. Public opinion may not decide penalties, but it undeniably adds pressure on the FIA to act decisively. Tsunoda's performance during the race has only amplified the narrative. He was poised for a standout finish, potentially even ahead of both Mercedes cars at one point. His consistency and smart tire management had positioned him for a career-defining moment, only to be derailed by an incident that now dominates post-race headlines. For a driver fighting for his seat in 2026, this could have been a game-changing result. And that's what makes the stakes so personal. McLaren's camp, for its part, is beginning to look increasingly isolated. Team principal Andrea Stella was notably absent from post-race press rounds, leaving media obligations to the drivers. While this might seem routine, insiders say it was a calculated move to avoid the brewing controversy. If the FIA rules against them, McLaren risks not only losing points but also facing questions about their on-track conduct and driver management strategy. For Red Bull, the timing couldn't be better. With Verstappen already wrapping up a dominant season, anything that shakes up the midfield standings only adds to their strategic advantage. If Norris receives a time penalty and drops behind Red Bull's second driver, it could secure critical points in the constructor standings, a victory Red Bull will absolutely take, especially in a year where every margin counts. Now the sport enters a waiting game. FIA officials have promised a full review before the official race classification is locked, and with new data streaming in, a decision is expected within the next 24 to 48 hours. The paddock remains on edge. What started as a dramatic overtake has morphed into one of the most contentious flashpoints of the 2025 season. The fallout for Norris, for McLaren, and for the championship standings could be historic.